record on this computer. Welcome to the Dice are Bad Storytellers, the potentially last session of Johan's Villainy, my first kind of in the campaign, under the campaign, villain, Johan being a monster situation. Person going off the deep end. This is really interesting. I'm Jacom Clarkson. Of course, I'm joined by Mathis playing Johan.
Hello.
Yeah. So what I want to do before we kind of get going here is, of course, I'll paint the picture. Johan has just gone to sleep after having a wonderful day. He had probably one of the best days of his young life, where he usurped the throne, convinced both the populace and the country that Johan was both alive as well as Karina, and you were going to rule together. And then his mother, totally unrelated, came back to town from her hermitage away from her abusive husband and Johan's father, only to find that her husband had been disappeared, had been lost at sea, which her mother does not know. Johan's mother does not know. And they got to have a wonderful day together. Not going across the beach because that's too dangerous, but they did go back to the castle and enjoy the company of each other. Yeah, and I guess we can just start off right there. Let's say Johan, what Johan does and does not know. With his conversation with Monster, he does know that the power of Pith is in transition, or could be. That Monster could be the inheritor of Pith's power. He doesn't know about the mantles. He doesn't know about being undying outside of that. He's seen it, and he knows that it's a thing that happens to people once they get so much power. And beyond that, he does know that the party knows that he's about Old Wessex causing trouble, and they have instead decided to go back to Reliquary instead of coming to face him. And so he knows a lot of things auxiliary, but he might not know the stakes of that decision. He definitely doesn't realize that, the foundation of creation is, at stake here. And so I just want to make sure that that's clear as we go into this, because as a player, that you have about 6 months before everyone is at a point where they can enter the well at their discretion. But you don't even know, arguably, that there's a well. You just know that Monster is being pulled up from something. And so too is Pith. Like you might, yeah. But we'll cut away from that. I just kind of want to establish that information. And we'll just start off right at the top of that morning. When you are decided to travel to Reliquary, you have servants in your luscious red carpeted royal bedchambers that just some time ago was Pudgefoot's home. Swissine is sleeping next to you, still asleep. Your mother is in a couple rooms down, and you wake up, king of all you see.
I wake up Swissine.
Yes.
As well. Darling, are you ready to make our trip that we had planned?
She kind of lays back in the bed and is like, oh, I thought that once you're royalty, you got to sleep in. She says, yes, I could do it, but honey, your mother just came back. You're king. The realm is yours. Why would you want to go to a spick of land in the middle of nowhere?
Because my friends are there, and they're not here. And to me, that means that there's something more important there.
I think you're being paranoid, but I love traveling through the depths, and I'll be ready. she gets up and goes off and gets dressed.
Swazine, we aren't going now.
Oh, when are we leaving?
We can leave in the next couple of days.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure you were mentally prepared and everything. I still have to get troops together to go.
I'd have to get you prepared as well. We will lose probably about 2 weeks of time in the journey. The longer the distance, the more time is eaten up. For us, it'll be just a couple minutes, but when we land back in Reliquary, it will be as if 2 weeks has passed for the rest of the world. I've never traveled this far, so another thing, Johan, you lied to your mother about Sir Hollow, your father. You told her that he was lost at sea, and what you choose to tell your mother is your business, but we are... Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that I think your mother deserves to know the truth, and I'm not going to tell her, but anyway, she kind of leaves and goes to get dressed.
You can just take it. She came over and grabbed my hummus.
Your hummus?
Grabbing my chips. I was eating some chips with hummus. Just take the whole thing, because you're going to come back for more.
A video documented hummus theft.
It's the most well-documented hummus theft. I can't say hummus theft. Anyway, I looked to Spacine, and I put starting with like the hair in the front of her face, I push the hair back out of her face and let my hand rest on the back of her neck. And I say, Mariah, please take the bag and the thing of hummus and go away. You're making so much noise.
It's totally chill. I mean, this is mostly for us.
Please.
So goofy. Oh man.
I say to Swacine,
take all the hummus you want.
That is the key to everlasting life. It's hummus. Anyway, but no, for real, I say, Swacine, he was put in a ship, in a little rowboat, put out to sea, and then we lost track of him. That means he was lost at sea.
Right. Yeah. He kind of nods. He's like, "You're real scary when you want to be, and then kind of walks away.
I take my hand off the back of her neck, and I put it on her shoulder, and I say, I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that you understood. But if it pleases you, I will talk to my mother and I will tell her the situation and the circumstances. Because the last thing I want you to do is not trust me.
She grabs your hand on her shoulder, has this like moment of togetherness with you. It's like, I didn't even know my mother, so I just, I can't judge your relationships, but I figured that was a special one. I killed my dad, so I did the same thing, but he was trying to hurt me at the time. So anyway.
My father hurt me his entire life. My entire life. So, I understand. But I'll go find my mother. Thank you
This
for
is
your counsel. I really
this
do
is
appreciate it.
way moodier than I usually am. I'm super sorry. I like to consider myself a party girl, so
Oh, no, 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 no.
now that I can't die, I mean, what's left to do but party? So,
Exactly. Speaking of which, do you want to throw a party?
yeah.
Then get all of your girlfriends in town, and we'll pick some people, and we'll throw a party. Maybe we'll even get
All
the
right.
council on board. And I'm going to go find my mother.
Okay. You find your mother. She is uh she's like she looks like she's someone who's camping. She's lived kind of in the wild on her own for a long time, but she did grow up a noble. And she's just, sitting in a parlor chair, kind of in her room. And when you knock on the door, she says, "Come in."
I walk in. I imagine that I'm
Oh,
still in my,
lounging
casual
clothes.
lounging
Yeah.
attire, yeah.
Yeah, she is as well. She is. Oh, Johan, honey, so good to see you. Come take a seat.
Thank you, mother. How did you sleep?
Quite well, actually. Is
Good.
the sheets are silken beyond even what your father could afford.
Oh, yes, they are quite plush and quite nice. I must say, I'm honestly still getting used to them myself.
Well,
But
I understand you've only just returned after quite
I
a debacle.
have.
Sir Emery betrayed you, I hear. That surprises me. He was such a noble man in the Senate.
Sir Emery betrayed our country, not just me. And that has been dealt with. That is not a problem anymore. I wanted to speak with you, Mother, about my father. Well, my stepfather.
Johan, it was years ago. You have to understand. I was young and impulsive, and I kept the secret for as long as I could, and it makes sense that you found out as you became a man. But it seems, yes, I didn't know until you knew, or until we received word from the Emperor, and that was around the time I left. I, no, I didn't know who it was. Yes. What questions do you have?
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to tell you the truth. He's not an issue anymore.
Your so the man who was lost at sea, your my husband, or your father, the man who sired you?
Your husband.
Oh, well, I was giving it some time to cool off, and I was going to return and speak with him. Now that I've given him so much time alone, but it is a shame to hear that he is no longer a problem. Well, it is no, it is good. It is good. He was vicious and cruel to me, but I did love him, and I don't want you to think you grew up in a house without love.
I know you loved me, Mother. But the instant he discovered that I was not who he thought he was, who he thought I was, well, things changed. And it became a lot more difficult to love him. But I will say, for what it's worth, it has made me who I am today. And I do appreciate that. Beyond that, though, I'm glad he's gone.
Wishing death on any person is not a quality that suits anyone well, Johan. But
Why?
he was a brute.
Why would you say this?
Not out of some
If someone
fear for
harms you, if someone harms you for the majority of their life, makes you wish you were dead, does it not make sense to
Your
wish
mother
them on this
stands
life?
up, walks over to you, kneels by the chair that you're at, and kind of places her hand on your hand and kind of starts to knead it softly. She says, Johan, that is an eye for an eye makes the world blind. Petty squabbles are one thing, but to blame those in your life for the pain you've had for so long, maybe you should have been the one to go out to an island and find yourself in nature for a while. You must let some of those things go if you're ever to be happy. And I see you love Swasine, and she loves you. Do you wish to bring that sort of hatred and anger into a relationship like that? We'll talk more on this on length, but know that is worrying to me, Johan. I wish for you to be able to be stronger than your pains. I didn't mean to censure you. I've been your mother, not been your mother for 4 years, and she stands up and walks over to her dresser. And suddenly I feel like I have a right to speak to the king like that. And she's turned away from you, going through her jewelry cabinet, putting on jewelry, kind of awkwardly waiting for you to respond to her.
I appreciate your counsel, Mother. It's very helpful. And I stand up and I say, Mother, why did you go to that remote island for as long as you did?
When you left, and you, that day 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago now, and you told me to leave him because he treated me so poorly. When you disappeared, his fury became more and more severe. And about a year later, after the wedding where you apparently married Karina Brightlance, I left and I went away and I let him rage amongst himself. And I went to a small island town on an island, and I just sought to find peace within myself. And I did. And then after the earthquake happens, and I heard of all the political upheaval, part of me hoped that my husband had been humbled. And I suppose he, in a way, has been through death. But then I came back and saw this incredible moment. Truly, my life in the middle of nowhere has been boring, incredibly boring, but it has been peaceful.
I say nothing and I leave. And I go find Elizabeth.
All right, you find Elizabeth. She's actually woken up a little earlier than everyone else, and she goes, sir, King Johan, how can I help you?
He's still alive.
I just stopped feeding him. Yes, he is still alive.
Open the door.
Yes, sir. She portal opens up. Tall door. Do you open the door?
Yes.
Inside is an extremely bedraggled Edward. Shirt pulled open, kind of messy in his just kind of own filth. He's got like a couple buckets nearby him of water, and he looks extremely tired. And he looks up. Finally, come to finish the job, have you? Speaks. His lips are dry.
I am not your executioner. Don't give me that grief.
And what do you want?
I want to ask you a question.
He's kind of shaky. He's a very stalwart person, but this deprivation of his needs for so long has made him weak. Yes, what question do you have?
What do you know of Relimquary? Or Midway, I guess is what I would know it as.
The speck of land in the middle of the ocean. Historically, it was the site of, it's considered the gods' city. It was illegal to go there without their invitation. Um, but that's ancient history. I don't know. I mean, you're asking me for storybooks. We have a library, Johan. If you'd like to let me out, I will help you find information about it.
Fine, follow me.
Uh, he goes, okay, stands up, rights his shirt a little bit, walks out of the door. But Elizabeth is like, may I close the portal, sir?
Yes, please. Get this man some food.
Disappears.
A good hot meal.
Yeah, yes, of course, of course. They tend to Edward and give him food and supplies and, restore him to kind of his health. And I'll say maybe an hour later, he's more well fed, better dressed. He's been able to wash himself. He is standing before you. He's been in there for about, I guess it would be a week and a half now, about 10 days. So he's not, destroyed, but he's not doing great, much skinnier. And he's standing sort of thinking very hard as you kind of come into the room where he's been eating. He's just finished feeding himself. He's just sitting there with his arms folded, looking at you.
You hate me, don't you?
Yes.
It's fine to say yes. I hate myself sometimes.
Well, where's my sister? Where's Sir Emery? I hear he attacked my sister, which is laughable. What is happening, Johan? And why have you deigned to release me after you threw me away like you did?
Because I want you to see what I've done. I want you to see the unity the kingdom has now. And I want your help.
What have you done, Johan?
No, I've done nothing. I've just given the people something to rally behind. I've given them new hope.
Just because I like where this scene is going, you can hear chanting outside. This is like in a dining room that has an outside facing window, and there are crowds outside that are still impassioned by Johan's speech that are outside. And as you're saying this, you can hear some of the hubbub, and Edward looks out over onto the window. Go on.
Come, join me. Let's go greet my subjects, my people. They're not subjects, they're people.
He goes, oh, all right. He stands up, walks onto the other balcony. Are you as Johan?
Yes, but as Johan without all the liars and whatnot.
Of course, yeah.
Scribbled on his face, yeah.
You come out, and it is a raucous crowd still. There are people waiting on your every word. There have been rumors going around the city after you walk down out through town as Johan, and there is a crowd of people who have been thinking Johan is in the castle. He's back, and they've been looking for a glimpse of you. And you appear, and everyone's he's there, he's back. And there's this cheer of Johan, King Johan, King Johan. And slowly that transfers into King Hollow, King Hollow. And Edward is going, you've brainwashed them. You've done, this is not the people of Old Wessex.
I've done nothing of the sort. If I were to brainwash somebody, you would know. Trust me, no magic was used on these people. I promised them safety and security and a return to the old ways, which is what they were looking for. Obviously, as you, well, may or may not know, Shigua is gone. That's right, right?
That is.
Okay.
I did not know that.
Yes, Shigua is gone. Not by my doing, of course, no. That is their own fault that their country fell apart. So, I have simply given the people something to rally behind, which is national pride, patriotism. And we will be stronger and better than ever before.
And now you want me for my statecraft. You want me to be the figurehead who will carry out your orders and do your bidding as in the country that you've created. Is that right?
Only if you want to.
I assume you know that only if I am safe and that I can act in the best interest of the people.
All I want is the best interest of the people.
I'm gonna say roll me either a persuasion check or a performance check, just to, because I think Johan's being honest in this moment, and I think Edward would just be, kind of both through delirium and genuine interest, trying to give him a chance.
31.
I think he goes, I will, on one condition. Karina, wherever she is now, is brought home safe.
Fine.
I'll give you. I will reach out and try to. If you will allow me to contact them through scrying or through communication, I will do so. Johan, you must understand. This is incredible. The country was hanging on a thread, nearly killing everyone in the castle, but a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And I must honor your ability, but I saw you choose to release Pith in a moment of pure selfishness. And I am forced to believe a man can change where I wouldn't have before. So if you seek to manipulate me, make me another pawn in whatever game you're playing, then you should have left me in that room. But if you are trying, and some part of me believes you are, then I can only do as much as is able. I can only do what is able to me, which in this case is support you. And if you'll, in what capacity? What capacity do you wish me to help you? Office. I can't just be the emperor in standing, because I believe you are now the king.
We'll discuss what position you take later. Right now, I want you to talk with the council. Let's all go talk to the council.
Right.
Oh, nothing. I just want you to talk to them. I want you to see how they're doing.
Okay, roll me an insight on Edward.
Okay. Natural 20. Yeah.
Wow.
By the way, my natural 20, you can't see that. It says,
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. He has been very honest about what he's saying. If you let him in front of the council, he's going to tell them about his experience on the boat where you killed all of his retainers and threw him into the pocket dimension. That might be something that's a risk Johan is willing to take, but Edward will unswervingly be telling the truth. And, even if he believes, if the nat 20, I'm going to say, he can't give up the change in Old Wessex you've given him. He can't, that's too big a gift to go back on, even though you're an absolute scoundrel. But he's not going to let loose of that knowledge that you're an absolute scoundrel. And as you're realizing that, he's turning to walk with you into the Senate. So if you want to stop him from saying what he's going to say, you can. But you know what he's going to say when he gets in front of the Senate.
Let me think of how I want to say this real quick.
Times like this, I wish I had an editor.
Yeah, I know, right?
Space.
Sometimes it is good to burn everything down and start over from scratch. That is what I wanted to do originally. But if what is already there just needs fixing, then there's no need to burn it all down. As long as we can come to a solution that we both agree on, I think this kingdom could be better than it ever was before.
I'm going to say this 31 continues. His hand, sits on the doorway and stops as he hears you finish that. I fear I am a small fish in a big pond, Johan. And it's truly hellish that you are that big fish. He pushes the door open. He goes into the Senate with you. He takes the floor. Everyone, is hushed. And he does say all of the things that he said about, or the things that you thought he would. He does, but he says it in this statecraft way that's like, our government has become so fraught with indecision and, confusing metaphor and things. And Johan's actions were the only way to impose the changes that he saw fit. As a vote would never go through.
I kind of like the idea that he goes into it starting to be accusatory,
exactly.
But then as he says it, he sort of figures out like, no, this was the only way it could have been done. What he did made sense.
Exactly.
Like he's sort of convincing himself as he speaks.
Yeah, and it's a very rousing speech. And I'm going to say, with Johan specifically, you're a level 20 person among peons. Even Edward is like level 7 at this point max. And so I want to say there's nothing magical going on. You are being, you're just explaining things and everything like that, but you are doing so in a way that is extraordinary. You're just convinced that the republic doesn't need to be a republic. It can be autocratic dictatorship because you have
Yeah.
Johan who understands everything. So
More
not
specifically, I convinced the one person that needed to convince everybody else that this was the
yeah.
way forward.
I think what's his name? The guy who played Edward originally would hate this moment.
I know.
I just think you're freakishly powerful, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
in a snappy place like this, he might make that decision, especially given that his country was at the edge of being falling apart. So that doesn't bother me too much. It is a tiny bit out of character, but not horribly. And I think that even after all of this, he convinced the Senate that it's the right thing to do. The Senate has a deeper understanding of the artifice by which you became what you were. They even know that you were disguised as, oh my gosh, Karina for a big portion of your takeover. Mm-hmm. But I think at the end of it, you get the feeling that Edward realizes it's perfect, realizes it's good. He also realizes it's evil, and it's like there's a kernel of him that will just always resist you. Mm-hmm. But he is copacetic for now, and that's kind of we gotta get a faster clip if we're gonna get through a lot of this stuff in an hour. So are you okay with us going right to first dream? Because you earned 5 dreams. You got all of the over 20 things. So you have a first dream again, wildly, even more people than before. And the limits of this place are starting to be stretched. Like there's too much foot traffic. There's too much energy and activity. Falling asleep on nights after a level comes in is totally without rest. You're totally distracted the entire night of the dream. But every night, a monster comes directly to you and goes, "Hey, big brother.
Hey,
plan is coming together. I think it's going to work really, really well." Oh,
that's so good.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about it.
I've been thinking really hard about what you said, and I think you're right. I think Mom just wants to get up there, take all the power for herself, and we're in a place to really outsmart her if we really think hard about it. Oh. And so, I thought maybe we could lay a trap, like we get like a big mouse trap, and we put it right outside the cage, and then when we open the cage, she walks out on the mouse trap and got her.
I like that idea. Where would we get the mousetrap from?
Crap. Do you have a mousetrap? Like a big one?
No, but I have... Let's see. How many are there these days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 adventurers that would probably be very happy to do it for us.
Okay. So we get big, strong, scary people at the door.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mom says that we're gonna reach the surface any day now, and so she says that when we do, I gotta be ready to go out and do stuff. But she's been really quiet lately. She hasn't been as vigorous and intense as she used to be.
How odd.
Kind of like Dad. Dad just kind of stopped talking after a while, and after it was playing around on him all the time, and now she's kind of doing the same thing. I hope it's not permanent, because otherwise, I got you guys to play with, but you guys are only here like 1 day out of a long time.
Did Pith die?
You don't know.
That would be something. If he's just such an insane little brat that he accidentally killed his parents without even realizing it. Jeez.
You will know.
That would be... That's dark, even for you, Jacom.
Oh, it's pretty dark. But I'm telling all of this from the perspective of a child who does not have a full grasp of what's going on around him. So you'll see what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be great. But here's the thing. we can't let these adventurers know that they're doing this, Okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has to be a surprise for them too.
I'm gonna say that you can see Karina and all them. They just don't wake up anymore. It seems like less and less people are waking up.
Mm-hmm.
The more intense this place gets, and he goes, "Okay, let's walk away from it." He like pulls you out of the room, walks further away from their bodies. Um, he goes, "Okay, okay. So secret trap for both of them then. So it's a surprise
Yeah.
for both of them. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Um, Mom, okay. So he's going to roll a history check. I'm going to say 15 and up, he can tell you a lot of really good information. 10 and below, he doesn't know a lot. And in between, he got a 14. So he's going to say, okay, I know Mommy said we were coming up in some place called Relum Quarry. I know that's where we're coming up from. And she said, of course, someone's bringing us the key. But she says that hasn't happened yet. And so we're still climbing up the well, I think. Yeah. So if you can get to Relum Quarry and hang out where we are, then you can party with us. It'll be great.
I would love that. I'd love to finally meet you in person. I love meeting you here, but it's not the real thing,
No, yeah, for sure, it's not the real thing. Is it not? It's, never mind. It's not the real thing. Yeah. He got a last. Is there anything you want to do before this dream ends?
Not really. I think I'm good.
Okay. The dream ends the next day. I'm sure Johan would have a further inspiration to go to Relum Quarry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm gonna find Sir Edward again.
Okay. He's starting to look a little more well-fed and okay. What's up? Yes, King Johan.
You can just call me Johan. Or Sir Hollow. Either one works. Whichever you prefer.
He almost says liar and stops himself and goes, Johan, how can I help
you? How are you doing?
Well, I'm eating, doing well. I've heard there's some rumors of you wanting to appoint me, and he kind of points to Elizabeth, who's was eating with him, as Justikar, seeing that the past one has died.
Yes, I that was my plan. Elizabeth, are you still interested in taking care of that for me?
You mean being Justikar as Edward?
No, being Justikar as yourself.
She's like, sir, I'm just like a low noble. Like I'm a Shiguan noble. I have no position in the Torin Church or the Old Wessex Church. Old Wessex. I will do whatever you ask of me, but that seems outside of my ability.
What do you think of this, Sir Edward?
She's capable, but I'm no Justikar either. But I sense you want me to do something else.
No, Justikar's fine. I just thought I'd ask the question.
I believe I would be better suited to take the position from a political stance, but I don't think that Justikar Malekith knew anything of the Torin religion himself. I believe it was purely a political position for him as well. So
what do you know of the Torin religion?
Worships the god of Torin, god of the land, the great appeaser of the skies, who was successful some 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Historians disagree, and ever since then he's been lauded as the provider of safety in the sky and on the land. So that's about it.
I want you to help me find any information that you can about a place called Relum Quarry. Let's go to that library that you mentioned to me before. Elizabeth, Where's Swissine?
She's eating. She's going to get Swissine. Brings her
Mhm.
to. Yes, how can I help you? Yeah, honey, how can I help you?
Yeah, that's better. Swissine. Um, First off, how was the party?
It was great. I think some people are still partying, if you know what I mean.
Oh, wonderful. Just make sure they stay in their rooms. Would hate
Edward's
for
like,
their partying to get too out in the open, you know? Anyway, darling, would you come with me and
Edward got a nat 20 on his insight, and he's like,
uh-huh.
ew. Those are famous rooms. Famous dignitaries have stayed in those rooms that are now having orgies in them. Yeah, what does what do you say to him?
I'm just gonna say, Sir Edward, Swissine, please, let's all go to the library. We need to do some research.
Yeah, for sure. Roll me some investigation checks. I'm gonna try and get the pace going. I'm sorry to rush you, but
You're good. Investigation, you say?
yeah.
First is a 15. I'm sorry, a 10.
Okay.
14. How many did you
Okay,
want?
with that 15, that's plenty. 15 is good. With that 15,
Okay.
you and all the group, you find that reliquary is kind of a hotly debated topic. And the older you get, the more seriously they take it. But as time went on, it kind of became like a buzzword to try and make people seem more like they have the god's intent, or like they're supposed to be the next king or the next. So there's a lot of historical record that's kind of puffery around reliquary, but you find one record that's exceptionally old that actually has the phrase mantle, and it considers the city the mantles of the gods. Um, and
That's
that's kind of
interesting.
the only big clue you get that would be like the gods. This is like the god's seat where they wear their mantles, um, and other than that, like it's a very flowery old bit of poetry that is like that is very lesser known, like and the translation is hotly contested. I'm going to say, because you're a warlock and there's so many warlocks that have the ability to read this language now, there's lots of arguing about what that poem meant, but you can just read what it is, and it's the mantles of the gods.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at one point Edward's like, okay, this is too freaky. Johan, since when do you like reading books at all? Since when does any of this matter to you? Since when are you curious intellect?
There are some people currently involved with trying to undo what I've done. I believe the knowledge in these books will help us make sure that doesn't happen. You familiar with the hero Jace Argan?
Yes, of course. Who is it? Yeah.
I have talked to a few people who are ignorant of his existence. So, well, he's back.
Swissine is like, who? And so you find that information. I think you convince Swissine, she's ready to go on the journey. What retinue do you bring with you to Reliquary?
Okay, so how many Undying Warlocks do I have at my disposal?
By this point, I would say probably close to 20.
Okay.
And if you waited another, month, you could have 40.
Okay. Let's see. Before we leave, I'm going to direct one of my guards to go find Sir Emery's father.
When when you direct the guard to do that, he comes back. I was gonna give this to you in a note, but this kind of works better. The guard is like, "Sir, I didn't. He took his own life. We found him. We found the wife and the daughter, the remaining son, killed them both, and then he took his own life right there on the spot." I was actually rolling for that while we were in another scene, and I did advantage for him, disadvantage for the family. He killed both of them, and then I gave him death saves to see if he would die or live. If you absolutely want to change that, I'll let you, but I was trying to let the dice tell that part of the story.
This guard is nobody, right?
Nobody.
He's not an Undying. He's just a city guard.
He's just a city guard.
That man was crucial to my plan. And you let him die. Do you understand the position this puts me in?
He goes to his knees. He's like, I did it. I tried to stop him. He just moved so fast. He took the dagger to his own stomach.
He was my bargaining chip. And now I have nothing.
I'm so sorry.
Don't you understand what this means to me?
I do. I'm going to say you guys are alone in your like private office, and he is groveling at your feet.
1 second. Out of this would be a perfect time for this to happen. So I am just going to say, you have put me in a very difficult position now. And I don't know what to do. But this is your fault. And that means you're going to pay. And as soon as I say pay, without knowing it, I'm going to cast Power Word Kill on him.
I'm almost
let that be the first time.
That will kill him immediately. Yeah, let me see.
If he has less than 100 hit points, then yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's at your feet. You say pay. It's not pretty. He groans, and then spurts of black liquid start to shoot out of his eyes and ears as he's like coughing up his own blackened blood. And then not even 5 seconds later, he is a desiccated of life, blackened corpse with just black ooze dripping out of his orifices.
Johan is upset by this because he wasn't trying to kill this man. I imagine he's got some like blood on his face and stuff like that now where the spurting and whatnot happened. And he stumbles back and just screams for a sec. And then catches himself and composes himself, and then leaves.
Okay, 1 is your mother. 2, 3, and 4 is Elizabeth or Elizabeth. 5 is Edward, and 6 is Swissy.
Okay.
That is a 4. So Elizabeth and Edward come running to your door and open the door and go, "Oh, Oh, we need guards to remove this body. Are you all right, sir?
Yes, I'm fine. I don't know what happened. We were having a conversation and he just collapsed. He, I was a little upset.
Elizabeth goes in with a couple guards, removes the body. Edward stays with you for a little bit, and he stops and says, "At first, I thought you were more dangerous than I understood, and now I realize you are more dangerous than you understand. And I will give you the benefit of the doubt for this."
No, you don't understand, Sir Edward. This was not this was not part of the plan. Everything was supposed to go. Everything was supposed to be different.
He's like, "Perhaps you should leave the power to you and the plans to me for now, until at least here in the country." Um,
Listen, Sir Emery's father killed his entire family.
he's drinking something and he spits it up. He says, "What?"
I know, I'm just as shocked as you. I mentioned, I know I've told you that Sir Emery betrayed us
Yes.
and betrayed the kingdom.
I still can scarcely believe that, but if he can kill his family as well.
Well, Sir Emery didn't kill his family. His father killed his family. I guess, I don't know.
Shame is a
I mentioned
powerful
it to him.
bad thing.
You want me to roll a deception check?
Yeah, roll a deception.
Since I'm very obviously lying. Oh, nice. Sorry, math is not my forte. 28.
Okay, he doesn't beat you. He seems to be like, "Wow, um, that's some dark stuff, Sir Johan. I will get some rest." He leaves. I'm gonna say because we really got to pick up the pace.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry. It's okay. No, it's totally fine. Do you want your next stream to be before or after you get to Realm Query?
Before, because I'll lay out what I'm trying to do with Sir Edward here if it's not very obvious. After the dream.
Okay, gotcha. So lay out what you're going to do with Sir Edward. Let's just go above table a little bit.
Okay. So my overarching goal is to get him to trust me. Not so much trust me as like
personally,
but trust that what I'm trying to do is the right choice, to the point that I can put a dagger in his hand in front of me and say, "You have the ability to kill me now," and he not do it.
Interesting. I'm going to roll a very important check here.
Okay. I'll roll. You want me to roll persuasion of any kind?
No, this isn't persuasion. I'm going to say it takes a good 3 weeks. It takes a long time to develop this trust and to, this is about a month after we started this thing. You've been doing statecraft, figuring things out, getting your army together. And you have this moment on the balcony. And you're drinking a little bit. You're kind of toasting to what has been excellent statecraft and has made the city more safe, got more prosperity. The poor have been helped. It's been a big deal. And it comes to this moment where you're standing in front of him with the dagger and you've put it in his hands. And he goes for it. He stabs you in the chest, reaches his hand around your back, and holds you to his ear, and he says, "But I can't kill you anyway, can I?"
No, you can't.
And he pulls out the dagger. So I just thought I'd do that for my own fun. You have my trust, Johan. And even if you didn't, what could I do about it? And he goes to hand you back the dagger.
I take the dagger from him. And 1 second. I have to remember how to do something.
You know what's really wild? Once we're actually in Realm Quarry, I'm going to tell you something that's like really wild about this turn of events I didn't expect.
What I decided to do?
Yeah, but I'll tell you once we get out of this because we're almost
okay. Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. Never mind. All right.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to do. I was thinking about asking him to willingly be the first person to willingly become my thrall.
I will openly say he would abjectly refuse that idea.
Yeah. But anyway, so that, yeah, I figured he would do that. But anyway, so that's it.
I think that moment with the dagger was a plenty fun moment.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say you have 40 level 20 Undying Monks. I'll say as of right now, we'll just simplify things and say each of them have a legendary resistance and a legendary action, like the prior person did. And we're going to simplify these guys down by a lot, so it's easier to use in combat. And all that stuff.
How many warlocks do I have, though?
You can have 40. I'll allow you to have 40 different warlocks.
Oh, okay, because you said monks, so I was
curious. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so 40 monks, simplified. I'll come up with a spell list for you, specifically of what I want them to have, because it's important.
For sure. You can intentionally pick that. The day comes and you're all prepared to go. He's off to set you off, and Swissine and several other warlocks have kind of joined together to kind of become powerful enough to make this travel with everybody involved. But it's just you and these 40 monks, right? Warlocks!
I am also going to take Sir Edward with me.
Edward? Okay.
I leave Elizabeth in charge.
Yeah.
While we're gone.
He is resistant, but he's like, if it's where Karina is, then that is fine.
I am bringing you to make sure she has a safe return home.
That's amenable. All right, and that's the only people you bring. Sir Edward and your 40 Undying warlocks and Swissine and you.
Yes.
Okay. You travel through this dark portal, go through the depths for what feels like, walking for a good hour, and you arrive at nighttime in this strange alien landscape with boiling, bubbling water and the place that from the other session. You've deposited yourself in kind of like a faraway, like natural area, but it's still close to the water where the bubbling, boiling sea is. You don't see any crab individuals here, and we'll kind of lead off from there. What I was going to have happen is because you got a 5 on your insight against Elizabeth, and if you just left without doing any further statecraft, she was going to go let Edward out and basically rely on him to perform the statecraft required to keep the country going, and basically perform a hidden coup while you were away to try and establish some normalcy. And so when you looped Edward into it, it was like, okay.
See, I figured you were going to do that.
Well, no, I mean, it totally makes sense to do, it's very much what Elizabeth would do in this scenario.
Yeah, I've been. I don't know.
It's a very thought-provoking setting. There's a lot of different angles to go at. So I'm glad you're thinking ahead of me.
Yeah, I figured like this is too easy. There's something that he's going to try and pull. The only person left is Edward, and I don't want to kill him because. And at the
Then you'd be
time,
a
I was
villain
thinking
to
like,
Elizabeth.
yeah, I don't want to kill him
Yeah.
and break her trust. But also, I don't know if um, Sir Emery's father is still alive because I didn't tell him to, you know, kill himself,
But you
but
didn't
there's
tell
a
him not to.
50-50 chance that
Yeah.
he did.
Hmm.
And so if he did, then I need another bargaining chip. And
So
Sir Edward is that bargaining chip.
If you had Sir Emery's father come back, you would have just killed Edward.
Yes. The instant that he stabbed me on that balcony, it would have been, all right, over the balcony you go.
All right, bye.
Yep.
I
So,
love the moment that he gets a Pyrrhic victory of like knowing that your little portrayal is just a ruse, kind of him
mhm.
doing his own research about being undying and through the other warlocks. He got a 15 on his investigation check over like the passing month, so I wanted to give
Mhm.
him that. But yeah, you get here. Said, we'll just speed up to where you basically go into craft society. You, without being detected, roll me a stealth check just to be extra sure. But you won't be. But this might give them hints at the beginning of the next session.
28.
Awesome. You eventually find your way. Other crabs are like another humanoid. Send him to the ambassador. Send him to the ambassador. And eventually, you find yourself in front of Lucian Edrin, who goes, "Why, hello, Sir King. It is really good to see you. Long time no see, right? I never forget a face, and much less an important face. Who would you have with you on this kind of like delegation?"
This would be Sir Edward and Swissine and two of the warlocks.
Awesome. He goes, "Well, I see you've got quite a retinue. From my intelligence network, I understand that you are now truly and rightly a king." And he does like a big, deep bow. He has a couple crab like retainers in the room with him. "To what do I owe
I'll
the
be
pleasure?"
fully honest with you. I'll be fully honest with you, Lucian. I forgot you existed.
He's so upset. He's like, "Oh, well, well, it is a pleasure to have you here regardless. And my memory has served me in remembering that I had such a good connection with such an individual in high places. So what can I help you with? Would you like to join the others who have been called of Torin and Pith and all those?"
No, 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 no. We're not going to join anybody. Not yet, anyway. I was curious if you knew anything about this mantle I've been hearing about. I've read
Mantle.
so much about.
I I wouldn't know anything about a mantle. Is that like a cloak? He turns to like one of his crab friends, and they're like, "No, there's nothing about a mantle. I mean, um, maybe you'd want to talk to a more learned crab."
Well, why have you had this here then? What are they here to do? You said other
Uh,
followers of Torin and
yeah, so they've been selected to for a purpose that the gods have selected. Some people reckon that they were meant to replace the gods, but after they left, no one replaced them. Of course, Salamel and Torin have fully absconded from the world, but that was some 4 years ago. Salamel more recently, about 6 months ago, um, and well, excuse me, only a couple of days ago. No, that was about. It's been about 3 months now. And ever since, they've been seeking to understand what purpose the gods brought them together for, and haven't really been able to come to an answer.
is this before the party gets here or after?
This is after.
Okay. Hmm. Interesting. Well, hmm. I am curious. They're all here trying to figure out what the gods want them to do. What do you think the gods want them to do?
He looks to the crabs. Well, I'm no magician, but the well is spooky. I can't even get close to it, and that's where they seem to be. Yes. So, long story short, it's probably not super interesting to you. There's like a room down there that only gods can go to, or people that the gods like select, and it's really dangerous if you get close to it and you're not undying. You get your soul ripped out and you die, and it's really bad. But I think it's got something to do with down there, and that's what I think. It's just something to do with down there. I think I don't know. Gods think they're all smart, but really, are they smarter than what we got going on? And he's kind of puffing himself up. He's
Here, let me stop you for a moment. You said only people chosen by the gods can enter there?
Yeah. I mean, that's
what do you
my
mean?
Understanding.
People powerful enough? People strong?
He turns to the crab dude who kind of comes up and whispers in his ear, and he's like, "Well, okay. So the literal rule is you have to be undying, meaning that you can't like die if somebody stabs you or something. But usually the only way to do that is if you know a god, and so chosen by a god, but it only works once you're undying. We lost a couple people early on when they tried to go in when they weren't strong enough."
I look back at Sir Edward, and I just curse under my breath because my whole plan was to have him be at the thing, and if that is the way it's going to be, which I knew that, Johan didn't know that.
Yeah.
But that means Sir Edward's going to die, or would have to die in the process, so it's kind of pointless to have him there anyway.
I think as you look back and say that, I think he realizes that as well and is starting to like go toward the door, and Swisseen's already got her hand on the door and is just like smiling pleasantly at him.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to see
that changes things, but thank you. I would very much like to see it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just because I know you're not always on the up and up. How secretive do you want to be? Do you want to like nobody knows? Because crabs can keep a secret. And he looks to like his compatriots are like, I can't speak for everybody who may have seen you coming in if anybody saw you, but if you want to keep hush hush, right? Well then, off to the well. And I'm assuming you go with him to the well?
I do, and I make sure Swisseen keeps an eye on Sir Edward. And I have something I specifically want to do with that later.
Okay.
But
so you guys travel through some like crazy, caves and wild systems and everything like that. It's very hard to get to this location. But eventually you get there. There's a big red line painted on the ground with a bunch of dead crab carapaces that are just kind of, left over. And you get there and you see this monolithic white marble room. And this will be great because I'll get practice describing what it looks like.
Yeah, nice.
You come up to there. Edward stops at the red line. So too does Swissy, and everybody stops right before the red line. And Lucian is like, "All right, well, that's as far as I go." And he's like 12 feet back from the red line. He's like not even close to it. And he's like, "Just keep in mind, if I die," and there's a bunch of crabs around too, everybody's gonna know. So remember who you're keeping safe.
Oh, I'm fully aware of what happens if you were to die.
Nice.
And I go in
Okay, you walk into this room. It's a long walk. It's maybe like a half a football field's length through the cavern before you get to the actual square room, which is about quarter football length by quarter football length square. So it's just kind of like a cube that is this pristine marbled white marble stone that is perfectly flat, perfectly square, and just has one opening that leads out into the cave. And in one section, there is a big circular hole that comes out of a pedestal that goes down and up, and there's a golden chain going up and down the length of that giant hole. And this hole is probably about 30 foot in diameter, and so very, very large hole. And along the sides, there are 10 cages, or 10 places for cages to be. 2 of the cages are missing, and in one of those missing spots, there is a half-formed cage made out of golden material, from where golden liquid seems to be dripping out of the ceiling from a hole that isn't there. In front of each of the cages are small keys that seem to be just slotted for each cage. And there is a set of daggers as well on what is the central focus of this place, which is a platform, kind of a Roman dais that is quite large, and currently has 2 large thrones on it with 2 small footstills in front of those thrones. And they are, one is pure black marble, one is pure white marble, and the other 2 are also black and white. And this place very much gives off like it's kind of in between the, what is it, movie with the, in the simulation. It's a simulation, Dr. Smith. Oh my gosh, I can't think of it. But it feels very antiseptic. It feels very like cleaned and washed. At the same time, it kind of feels like a government building, like a state government building that's kind of all marble and beautiful and everything like that. It feels like it's that, but instead of being like a central place that's supposed to see a lot of foot traffic, this is like, it feels kind of like this is the back room. This is like where they put the water boiler. This is not a place that sees a lot of foot traffic or is meant to be used very often. It kind of has this like gross dustiness to it. Now, the central feature of this room is a cage that is about 10 feet in diameter and is just off the side of this extremely large hole. And there is a black mess of flesh spreading out from underneath it. That is grabbing onto and holding onto all of the surrounding. There's so much of this flesh that it's actually, the cage is held up over the ground about, we'll put it about 2 feet. And so, and this flesh is barely recognizable as flesh. It is this black, tarry, scarred tissue thing. And in the cage, descending from the form out of this same black scar-like tissue is a skeleton, a blackened, dark skeleton that is just standing perfectly still, upright in the cage, as all of the flesh from this figure has wrapped around the bottom of the cage, extended into this mass of flesh around it. And is hanging off of it. So there's frankly almost nothing inside the cage anymore. And this is what Johan walks up to.
I walk over to that cage and I just say, "Do you speak?"
There's no response. If you'd like to roll me an insight, just so I can confirm stuff that I've just hinted at.
16.
This is Pith Skeleton. The mass of flesh is your father's body that is now made undying, and you see no sign of Smudge Boy.
Got it. Brother, are you here?
No response.
The mass of flesh. So wait,
I'm going to say, too, your warlocks are kind of poking around and are like, whoa, what is this? The ones who have crossed the threshold with you and are expecting it, Swissane's like, I don't like this. I don't like this, Johan.
I don't like this either, Swissine. This definitely changes things. So this is Pith's skeleton, and my father, Greenwater, was made undying by his interactions with her. And the change in pressure caused him to goopify and spread out very far.
This is all kind of conjecture. It's not 100% on point, but that's a reasonable thing for Johan to think.
Yeah. The cage is not open, though, right?
No, the cage is not open. And a lot of her flesh is actually like getting in the way of it opening. There's like, it seems like whatever she's done has basically like, she went into some sort of survival mode. Like she just did whatever it took in her mind to become able to pull herself out, which given that she was separated from the depths and her limitless power then became technically limited because she could only retrieve so much, she kind of did something to preserve her own life and preserve her own power in a way that she would be able to pull herself out of the depths.
So who then pulled you up?
The face is silent.
Hmm.
The bones and the dried out cartilaginous lengths just kind of hold taut against her skin. That is papery and thin and barely even there.
Well, it's good to know that this is the way things are. I think we should leave now because I have thinking to do.
Susan's like, I agree. Let's go. They walk out with you. Edward is standing, off beyond the red line, and he's standing with Edrin, who I am sure would hate each other so profoundly. It's a conversation between those two would be so tragic. But
as we leave, I'm gonna swipe one of those daggers.
One of the golden daggers. All right, Take it. This is tasty. You take one of the golden daggers. There are only there's only like 4 left. There's like 10 available, and it looks like they don't regenerate in the same way as others. So the 2 that have existed before were already there, and so there's only 4 excluding the one that you just took.
Okay. Was there one still in the cage?
What?
Was there one still in the cage?
No, there wasn't. That was retrieved.
Okay. And by the way, I want to try and do this sneakily.
Oh, so nobody sees you take it?
Yeah.
Roll it.
18 plus 3.
21?
21, yeah.
So Seeing got a 2. And everybody else does not see. All right.
Cool.
So you managed to leave with the dagger. All the warlocks are kind of shook because you can see them talking and they're like, is that what made us what we are? Are we the bad guys? Some of them like actually like might have considered themselves good, or all that kind of stuff, or there's like a fear that's growing up in them. Yeah, I assume Johan goes to bed hoping for a dream in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go to sleep. When you wake up, again, clamoring, throngs, all that stuff, Sludge Boy walks up and goes, oh, have you made it to Realm Query yet?
I have, brother, and I have some questions for you.
I didn't see you anywhere. Well, I guess I'm still in the well, so that doesn't count. But
You're still in the well?
yeah, Mommy is too.
What does that mean?
Me, Mommy, and Daddy, we're all still getting pulled up out of the well.
But the cage is out already.
What? The cage is out already?
Mm-hmm.
But why doesn't Mommy know? Why doesn't she? Because someone's coming with the key. She. Oh no. Wait, but we've been playing on the outside of the cage this whole time. It's all been fine. You're lying. You must be lying. He's in a full temper.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Brother, when have you known me to lie to you? And I'm going to roll persuasion.
Roll persuasion.
15 plus 17.
15 plus 17. He only got like a
30 something.
Yeah, he's just okay, but if you're not lying, then that means Mommy's lying. And Mommy doesn't lie.
Real quick, just to test a theory of mine, I'm gonna check and see if I have the dagger.
In the mind space?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say you do not. You do not. You are not able to pull that into this place. No.
Is there a reason?
You can roll insight on this if you want, or maybe Arcana. He was not lying. This is just some sort of mental place. This is not a physical realm. This is, this is an abstraction of thought. This is not a place where spirits are. Outside of just their minds.
That then... I'll just sort of be like fiddling for it, looking for the dagger, and then realize that it's not there, and just sort of go, okay.
Johan is so nasty, man. He's about to stab a kid. Oh, he's so nasty. Okay.
Yes, you talk to Mother. Actually, could I talk to Mother with you?
I guess I've never tried to take anyone back with me to where we were at. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I can try. He walks, and he opens one of these doors to this insane family reunion building that's like tree houses and deckhands and ships and noble houses and poor houses and just this giant dream amalgamation of stuff. And he opens up a door and walks you through with him. And it is like picture like kind of like a Disney style Clouds of Olympus, but instead of it being Clouds of Olympus, it's like this black, streamlined, flesh-like, support that's all around this gilded golden cage. And you see, he walks you in, and there's toys on the ground and places to write and draw and stuff. And you see the desiccated corpse of your father. You can see Greenwater, and he's just eyes sunken into his head, like barely alive, just sitting there, and he's got like a block in front of him. And Smudge Boy walks up and gives him a block and goes, "Dad, somebody came to play." And he just keeps looking straight down. He's just completely disconnected. He's just sitting
Do
there.
I have the dagger now?
You do not.
Okay.
He goes, "Well, this is Daddy. This is Daddy Green. I guess he's both of our dads or mom.
Yeah.
Wait, are you?"
No,
That's so
he's my dad.
cool. He's your dad. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Well, I'm kind of nervous because Mommy talks about you a whole lot, but do you want to see Mommy?
Yes, I would love to see Mommy.
He walks you around kind of this curve, and it's a very strange physical space because it's way larger than the cage you saw. It's much more grandiose. It's this like projection of like what clearly this boy has grown in. Clearly this has been this kid's nursery. And he walks you up to a section where the black flesh kind of opens up into a window that sees into the cage. And you see a much less desiccated Pith sitting there. She still has some, flesh to her cheeks. She's very, very, very weak in this thing. And she sees you, and you see her eyes go sharp.
1 second, Jim. What's
yeah.
up? I think we're getting close. Are you hungry?
Sorry.
I'm sorry. You can. I know. I'm sorry. We're almost done.
Okay. Well, how about this? We can continue at another time, and we'll call this.
No. We're good. We're good.
But we still got to figure out a ton of stuff, man. So we'll get to this.
Yeah. We can talk about it.
Yeah. So
we're good. Let's go ahead and finish now.
Okay.
Hold on a sec.
And Smudge Boy is just like, she stopped talking a while back, but she still looks at me sometimes. And you see just absolute pure abject hatred as she's unable to communicate to Smudge Boy. Just staring you down.
She's staring me down?
Yes.
Okay. So we're in a mind space right now, so technically...
It's very questionable what kind of magic you can use.
Gotcha. I'm going to use my awakened mind feat and speak to her telepathically. And she can also speak back.
The cage blocks the magic entirely.
No! Gosh darn it.
These cages are no joke, man.
Yeah.
But you see that, you tempt it, you see her eyes light up, recognizing, like she can sense the magic, and she's as frustrated as you are.
I'm going to say, can she hear us?
I think so, yeah. She can move still.
How often does she move?
This is the most she's moved for a really long time. But, Mommy, this guy says that we're on the surface now, that we got out of the whale. You see, like, a sense of confusion come over her face, and she's just like, and fury and rage. And she's like, why aren't we out of the cage? Didn't somebody get you the key yet?
Oh, yeah, you did mention a key, didn't you, brother? That's... I'll find that key for you.
Confusion and hate is just pouring out of Pith's face at you. Just the most, like, caged, wild, insane God is just peering into your soul, boring holes in the back of your head. And Smudge Boy is just like, oh, you hear that, Mommy? You wanted to play with Johan so bad, and now he's going to get you the key.
Brother, can you go play with your father for a minute? I want to talk to your mother alone, if you don't mind.
I love playing the game where I put the box in his hand and he drops it. It's so fun. He runs off.
It's such a fun game. It's such a fun game.
Plays with his dad. And yeah, what would you say to Pith?
Can you blink?
Very slowly.
Okay. 1 if yes, twice if no. Are you still trapped here under something you have done? Like, is it your own fault that you're still trapped here? Is it your choice?
One if yes, two if no. Her
Mm-hmm.
eyes creak slowly once, and then twice.
Okay, so this is not your choice.
I want you to roll me an
Uh-huh.
at disadvantage insight check on Pith,
Got it.
because she is barely even a person at this point.
Not gonna lie. 13.
Okay. It's impossible to know. She is. She seems to be in here. She was genuinely surprised. With that 13, she was genuinely surprised that she was out on the surface of the well. She was not in the well.
Mm-hmm. Do you want him, and I know notion like to Smudge Boy gone?
1, 2.
Okay. Do you want out of this cage?
She closes her eyes and for a long time is unable to open them. And then with great effort, they open again.
Will you try to destroy everything if you're released?
Ooh. Her eyes close and she seems to lose consciousness. She doesn't open her eyes again.
Brother.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're done here. I've asked her all the questions I could think of, and she answered as truthfully as possible. I think, anyway. I'm not really sure how this mind space stuff works.
Mind space? This is the real world. You're hearing us at the well. Oh, maybe you need to wake up. He slaps you, just kind of like testing it, and you wake up in your bed.
Got it.
Okay, let's pause there and find another day to continue, because I don't want to keep you from your girlfriend. But let's do like another, maybe one when you have a day free. We'll finish up your preparation. But frankly, that's the main thrust of what's going on. How you choose to use the next maybe 4 months is up to you in secret, and we might be able to just talk about that in text, and that will all be disclosed once you're in the combat. So we'll play with that. If we feel the need to do another session, we'll do it. But we might be able to just communicate all that stuff. So
I'll tell you my plan to see if this changes anything. Knowing now that the cage is out, my goal is no longer to try and defeat the party. My goal is to unify with them.
I think that
is hard, I know.
No.
But here's the reason.
I think that we can talk about that without having another session, because I can't say why until we're in the moment, because there's still some secrets left in this little Matryoshka doll. But
because just to lay out what I'm thinking, Johan's conversation with his mother about wishing death on somebody got to him, which I think is what you were trying to do. So bravo.
Oh, for sure.
To the point that he's starting to sort of realize that what he did to Sir Emery was really bad. And he isn't going to,
he's trying to turn at the last minute. He's trying to
It's
do
not
the
that
right
he's
thing by his
trying.
mother.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. He's trying to think about a
Dude.
way that he can fix this.
This is gonna be such a delicious mess. Like, oh
Yeah.
man, this is just gonna be such a tasty cluster F. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
But he, the thing is too, he took the dagger specifically because he knows that what he has to say is not going to be something that the party wants to listen to. So
He has a backup plan.
yeah, and his backup plan is pretty much like what he said to Sir Edward was real. He used to want to burn it down, but now he doesn't want to. He wants to try and fix what's still standing.
Is he gonna like stab
But
himself and let them choose, kind of a thing?
Something like that.
Okay.
I was thinking more along the lines of he would get the other daggers involved and pacify everybody first.
Oh,
There's everybody that was a threat, and then have a conversation with them.
It's gonna
to
be
make them
such
listen.
a mess, dude. It's gonna be such a mess. I'm so for it. Okay, we'll stop here. We might want to do another session just because it'll get into more details on the well, but we'll do that before next Wednesday for sure. Or we'll just chat. We'll just chat and see where we're at, because we might be able to just talk it out and that would be enough. But I think this was all the main points I wanted to get across in this session. So everything else is kind of your preparation that you want to do now that you're at the well.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
I'll stop.